This is your daily briefing and you're most welcome to it. On the back of the Southampton game, I noticed there's a few sort of patterns or sort of opinion traits emerging. And so instead of going through every single player, although there were some good little performances, fantastic cameo from Brian Gill, I thought he did exceptionally well. What I think we kind of learned from the whole Saints thing is that what we've all learned for a long time now. Spurs don't have a particularly fabulous squad. And the moment you start tinkering around from, and variating from the best 11, you start to get yourself into problems. Dele Alli, absolutely spent at this stage. So, like I said, there's been these sort of traits of opinion within the fan base there, and we're talking primarily, of course, about Harry Winks and PIERRE Hojbjerg. I have been a stalwart Hojbjerg fan since day one. I think he's just what the doctor ordered. And Winks, I think, has been around for far too long. I can't even remember how long he's been with us. Probably 8 or 9 seasons, something like that. So I'm just going to spin through this with you. And this starts off from the perspective whereby I think a lot of people have been having this very sort of kind of is binary the right word? Who is the better? Who is the best one? Like a top trumps type thing between the two players, and they've been trading stuff off in their minds. And my conclusion that I came to is that we need to just be a little bit more sophisticated about how we kind of weigh this up. So there's been a fair degree of discontent about Hojbjerg doing the rounds within the Spurs fan base of late, to add to which there's been an increasing degree of praise creeping in for Harry Winks. And this is my attempt, at least, to try and make sense of what has become a considerable shift in the fortunes of the pair. Hojbjerg was widely seen as a steely, rather vital Viking, whereas it's fair to suggest that Winks was commonly viewed by many as somewhat of a yesterday's man. If we look at the directions of travel of both of the players, we have Hojbjerg, who remains a pivotal player for his country, having racked up 75 starting 11 spots for Denmark, whereas Winks has amassed just 11 appearances, and this is their personal lifetime achievement. So 75 versus 11. So we had this sort of drip, didn't really kind of get anywhere. And Hojbjerg has just come to the fore. And as I keep, dropping into conversation, I'm not getting paid for that. He had a very good Euros tournament. So, that's where it's going. The Dane has played consistently well in the Premier League for Southampton and for Spurs over the last few seasons. And if you compare the two players, you see that one has got absolutely rock solid game time started to be amassed, and the other has been tapering off. Winks has been struggling to remain relevant under any of our recent coaches, and for context, the 25-year-old, who's 26 in February, has been on Tottenham's books since 2013-14. So there you go, you do the maths. When it comes down to style, this is the other thing as well, because people I don't think people quite appreciate the cosmetics perhaps sometimes of these players. So both players operate as utility midfielders, which is to say there's a varying degree of roles they undertake, and if you track back through their entire careers, they've always kind of mooched around a bit, opposed to just being pigeonholed in one particular position. There's a case to be made for neither man being naturally offensively minded. Hojbjerg was more attack-minded in the last Euros, there he goes again, but obviously that wasn't in a Tottenham shirt, and Winks has routinely frustrated for both club and country, and whilst his passing accuracy has always been high, the lack of attacking dynamism has been a recurring chore for all observers. Bigger picture stuff. Looking at the squad as a whole, we see that Oliver Skipp is perhaps more naturally defensive-minded as a midfielder, and that Tanguy Ndombele is obviously a more attacking character. This leaves us with arguably our best and most expensive attacking option unable to play, as he is invariably unfit, and our first choice defensive midfielder option in need of a rest during hectic schedules such as this Christmas. So what we're left with here is an odd couple. and putting Winks and Hojbjerg together is clearly far from ideal. I would suggest that pitting the two against each other is not naive and depressingly simplistic in many respects. And I'm thinking of Dwight K. Schrute from the US office here arguing who would win in combat out of a bear and a shark. Against Southampton, Winks created many chances and made more attacking third passes than Hojbjerg. Yet it was Hojbjerg who won 10 duels to Winks' 4 and was more defensively coherent. The conclusion, drawing sweeping conclusions based upon very small sample groups, is notoriously a hazardous business. And for me, it's a transitory pairing. And ideally, Conte would look to match Skip with a more attacking option, which leaves few particularly satisfactory out combinations. Hojbjerg has the best career trajectory, and Dombele may be a lost cause, but it is Skip where the eye wanders, and he's still very much on his way, and his age is frequently underlooked. The notion that Harry Winks is now embarking on some kind of comeback tour is an idea that I find frankly implausible. If I've learned anything, pondering the numbers, staring at our midfield, then it is the desperate state of affairs with Dele Alli, Giovanni Lo Celso and Tanguy Dombele, and until those are addressed, then Conte's worries are considerably bigger than any imagined contest between Pierre and Harry. So there you have it, there is no winner. The shark and the bear went off and had beer and sandwiches together. That's your lot for the moment. If anything stellar or seismic happens, I shall be in touch. Good luck, keep it on.